So he brings it over today, and the pull start seems fine. I think the engine is seized. Yeah. What do you think? From zero to hero. All in one day. Friggin' right. She was completely seized. Now she's running. Honda 200S. Oh my goodness. Ain't she a beauty? Yeah. So my neighbor brought this over, and he said there was something. I was talking to him yesterday. He said there's something wrong with the pull cord, and I'm pretty sure it's seized because the pull cord seems to be fine. But yeah, I think the engine's seized. So I don't know if we can get it unstuck or not, but I took the spark plug. It was already loose, so I took it out with my fingers, and she's not looking too good so far. The spark plug is like full of rust, so I imagine the cylinder is probably full of rust as well. That's not usually a good sign, but I think I'll fill up the cylinder with diesel. Classic trick, fill up with diesel. And I'll check the crankcase oil, make sure it's got lots of oil in the crankcase, make sure it's not full of water. Let's see if it'll come free after soaking in diesel. Sometimes diesel fuel will penetrate the rings. I don't know what's happened, if they ran it low on oil, if it's been sitting and got water in it. I don't know what's going on, but we'll dig a little bit deeper into it. Oh, I don't know if you can tell or not, but she's full. Filled her up with this like 99% diesel fuel and a couple drops of automatic transmission fluid in there, and I just used it for a squirt bottle so I could squirt it in there. So I think she's full. I'll just let it soak for a little while, and in the meantime I'll check the crankcase oil, make sure it's not full of water, and I might have to take the cover off the other side. He said the pull start is broken, and I said, oh well, that's an easy fix. So he brings it over today, and the pull start seems fine. I think the engine is seized, so I think it's a lot more than the pull start. I think the pull start is fine. Yeah, this is all loose, and he told me that he had the nut off of the crank, and he lost it, which is a big no-no. That's a big no-no. You got to have that nut on there. So I'm gonna take this cover off and see what's going on in there, and I might be able to get on the crankshaft. Of course, I'll probably have to put the nut back on. He lost it apparently, so might have to get one. I don't know if this engine will even come free or not. It might just be seized, it might be shot. I don't know. But I'm gonna try to get it unstuck with the diesel fuel in the top end. Okay. So this pull cord is fine, I think. Yeah, pull cord is fine. So I'll just set that aside. And I think the engine is seized. There's a washer, and he said he lost the nut. So I'll have to get a nut on there. But now what I can do is I can put a bar through these holes, and I can get some leverage and try to get the engine moving. And if I do, I'll just wiggle it back and forth, and I'll just try to get it moving a little bit. Leave the spark plug out so there's no compression, no hydro lock, and I'll see if I can get it moving. I don't know how long. It's only been soaking for maybe an hour, maybe. Well, there she goes. There's a tight spot there, but I got it free. So if there's a tight spot, I won't jam down on it. There's an airplane flying circles around my head. I don't know if you can hear it. There's definitely a tight spot there. I don't like that. So the engine turns counterclockwise from this side. There's a tight spot there, so there's probably rust on top of the cylinder, I imagine. I'll go backwards. I don't like to go backwards, but I'll go backwards and see what happens. There's compression. At least it seems like compression there for some reason. I don't know why. There it is. There's a tight spot, or what I imagine that is. I imagine that's rust on top of the cylinder. So I figure water got in there somehow. I can see rust inside of the spark plug, so I know water was inside of the top end. That's not very good. That's a bad sign. Because if the cylinder wall gets rusted badly, you can lose compression. There's definitely a tight spot there. Now, it could be in the bottom end, like if there was a bent crank, a broken crank or something, but I don't think it's in the bottom end. I think it's in the top end because of the rust on the spark plug. And the spark plug was loose, and the engine seemed to be seized. It's not seized now, but I can feel the rust on the top end, and I can see the diesel coming out as I rotate it. I can see so I know that it's coming up into the rusty spot. So what I might do is I might just keep working it back and forth, put some more diesel in it, clean the cylinder out. And yeah, see, it's going a little more, but I can hear the rust. I can feel it scraping. So I don't want to force it too far all at once. I'll go back and let the lubrication in. but she's going a little bit at a time. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. All the way around. That's a good sign. There's a tight spot there. It's a little bit rusty and tight at the top, but I think it'll be okay. We did this one time on a 55 Chevy truck. It came from California and the engine was seized. And we put diesel fuel in the top end, on the tops of the pistons and the tops of the cylinders. And we did this very same thing. We got it unseized and we got it running, actually. Most people would give up on an engine when they seize. Most people would give up on it, rebuild it or replace it. Okay, I found a nut that actually fits, which is amazing. So I torqued it down to 38 duggas. So I think that's okay there now. It seems to turn. So I got the cover on there. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but the engine is turning over now. And there's no really terrible tight spot. It was bad at the first, but I think it's gone around enough times. Hopefully the compression is still there. I'm not gonna tear it apart or anything. I told them I'd try to get it unstuck, try to get it running. With these small engines, you pretty much just need 3 things: ignition, fuel, and compression. Now, let's check for ignition. Now that it's turning, I'll put the spark plug in there and see if there's any spark. Okay, I just played back the replay. I couldn't tell if there was any spark or not because it was so faint. I couldn't see the spark without it, so I played it back and it seems like there is some spark there. I'm just gonna put it back in. I'm gonna put the spark plug back in again and check on the fuel. It sounds like it's bone dry. Frig sakes. Anyway, I'm gonna put this back in and see if there's any compression there or not. You never know, she might fire up. The fuel tank's bone dry, but it's not rusty. So that's a good sign. Sometimes you'll find water or rust in the tank. I think maybe it just needs some fuel. I put a little bit of fuel into it. So I think I'll try that. I think I'll just try to pull it and choke it and see if it'll fire. I don't have a lot of faith right now because it's been sitting. The carburetor might need to be gone over. The spark is weak. So I double checked the spark plug after pulling it a couple times. It seems a little bit wet, probably from the diesel. I don't notice any fuel smell, so I don't think the fuel is going through the carburetor yet. I'm gonna just tap the carburetor a couple times in case the float is sticky. This fuel switch is on reserve, I think. Try rotating the fuel switch. Holy frig, boys, she's alive. Woo. Trying to find neutral on this friggin' thing. I don't know where neutral is. Might just have to take her for a rip. 1 minute it's seized, next minute she's a ripper. I think she needs to be idled up a little. Neutral must be all the way up. Comment down below if you know if you know where neutral is, because I don't. Oh man, that's awesome. All we got to do is idle her up a little bit, maybe change the oil. Come on, baby. What do you think? From zero to hero, all in one day. Friggin' rights. She was completely seized. Now she's running. Holy frig, is it ever sketchy? Sketchy fun. These things are catwalk kings. You can catwalk all day on these little things. These machines are like kind of collectible and legendary now, iconic. Honda. So this bike belongs to my neighbor, and I just called him and I said, buddy, I said, your crankshaft is broken. I pulled his leg for a minute, and then I told him, I said, no, I'm just joking. I got it running and driving. So he's gonna come and get it. So I might take it for one more quick rip before he comes and gets it. Oh, and by the way, neutral is all the way up, and I think third gear is all the way down. I'm not sure if it's 3-speed or 4-speed, but yeah, I found out the hard way. Neutral is all the way up, just like the good old days. And this thing has more gears than I thought. It's got 4 or 5, I'm not sure. Wow, I think it's got 5 gears. Pretty scary, sketchy. I'd be happy with 3 or 4. What a fun little sketchy machine. Very fun and very sketchy. But she runs and drives. The headlight even works. Looks like it's taped on there with electrical tape, but yeah, that's a mission accomplished. I told him that it needs an oil change. He's gonna come get it right away, so I guess we won't get to play with it for much longer, but quite a fun little toy. I don't know if that's the factory size rear tire. There's some pretty big meats, pretty big tires, big grippy boys. She doesn't turn too great. It's really touchy at high speed. The steering is really touchy, and at low speed it's just hard to turn because of the solid rear axle. They're sketchy, but a lot of fun. 200S, model ATC 200S. Cold tire pressure 2.2 psi. Oh my goodness. Load capacity 270 pounds. You could fit some pretty big boys on there, 270 pounds. Okay. All right. She's 1984. 1984. Made in Japan. I'm not saying she's mint condition or anything like that, but the tires are good on it. The headlight works. The air filter, it seemed to have a UMI, like a performance aftermarket air filter. Somebody took care of it once upon a time, 1984, and it's still here, running. I think it could use the LED headlight upgrade, but other than that, she's pretty good. She's got some drift stitches. She's got some drift stitches in the front fender and this side on the rear, but she's a pretty good little machine. Those Hondas, I think they're hard to kill.